Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis, and this is for trading on April the 29th, 2021. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for this is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. All right, so as usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our calendar here. So in terms of the important stuff, first thing was the Fed FOMC, the Fed statement. And as expected, they held the interest rate, so didn't really make any changes. Now, they did acknowledge that everything was going well. So the economic recovery was on track and things were looking up, especially with the vaccination. On track, that is a really positive thing for the economy. However, they said they're not concerned about inflation at this point, and they're not looking to taper any of the bond purchase program, or they're not looking to raise rates at this point. So that is that. We do have President Biden speaking later, and then also he will be putting forward his new bill. So we will see what comes of that, if it actually makes it through both the houses. Now, coming up here on Thursday, a lot of data coming up here in terms of the important stuff. So first, we do have the CPI numbers here out of the Eurozone. So CPI numbers, inflation is going to be important. So if it's in line with expectations, then it's okay. It's when it starts to go up too much, that will be a problem. Now we do have GDP and employment numbers here, unemployment numbers. So at this point, it's kind of steady, or expected to be steady. So any sort of big change here will make a difference. Pending home sales, this is looking positive. That's a good sign. And then we have PMI numbers here from Japan as well as China. So PMI numbers are leading indicators. So if PMI numbers out of China are positive, we should see a positive impact on Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar as well. All right, so let's go on to our charts here. With the euro here, finally, euro has broken out of this range here. It was trading in the range for quite some time. So it has done exactly what we had talked about here. Price went through the resistance and then came back to retest it, finally went through it, came back, and now it has made that move higher again. So we have a nice bullish candle close here for euro. Bias is bullish here. So especially with the Fed coming out and saying that they were not going to taper any kind of the bond purchase program, or I should say asset purchase program, and they're not going to make any changes to the monetary policy at this point. That's a positive thing for the stock market, but negative for the US dollar. And right now, US dollar not looking that great. So looking for euro to go up against the US dollar. So bullish bias, 1.2150 is the first target. And then second target, 1.2170, and potentially all the way into 1.2180. So bullish bias here. Now we are filling this candle, so it's likely to go all the way up there. So bullish bias for euro dollar. Pound dollar, this one as well, it's right into resistance, but looking bullish. We have a nice bullish pin bar here. We do have to be mindful of the resistance, but next target here is 1.4065. Now, this is the place where price has struggled for quite some time, and it may run into resistance here once again. So we may not be able to see a move through. So watch out for that. Right now, bullish bias 1.40 is the first target here. Aussie dollar here, this one is also looking bullish, but again, we are into resistance, so we have to be careful here. In this case, first target is 0.7810, and then next target here 0.7850. So bullish bias here, but watch out this resistance at 0.7810, because things could turn back around, because this is an important support resistance level here. So bias is bullish for Aussie dollar as well. New Zealand dollar, this one also looking bullish here. Price was able to break through this resistance. Nice bullish candle close here. So looking for price to go further. 0.7300 is the first target. And then second target here is 0.7340. So bullish bias here for New Zealand dollar. Dollar CAD here, we finally got that move to the downside here. It went through the first target right into the second one. We have a nice bearish candle close here looking very strong. So bias is to the downside here. And in terms of our target, we are looking at lower levels now here. Next target is 1.2285, and then we have 1.2250. So bearish bias here for dollar CAD. All right, looking at our commodities here, starting off with silver. Silver came right into the support level and then it has bounced off. Now we may see a move higher, and first target here would be 26.45 and then 26.60. This is still range bound. It's still stuck in this range. It failed to break down through the bottom. So now we're looking for a move higher here. So it may turn here, or we may see it go all the way to the high. And this is where it may turn back into the range here. But overall, I'm looking for a range bound move between 25.80 and 26.60. Gold here, same thing. We see that price went into the support, still trading in this range and bounced off of the support level. So we may see a move higher towards a resistance and then back into the range here. So bias still range bound, neutral bias for gold. Oil here, oil is into resistance here. This is where it has struggled previously. So neutral bias here, neutral to slightly bullish bias, but if it fails at 64.30, we're back into the range again. This is the range it's been trading in. So a lot of these still stuck in ranges here. So neutral to bullish bias. If it goes through the resistance, only then will we target the next level, which is 65.40. So neutral to bullish bias here for oil. Copper here, copper still looking bullish here. It's holding the previous support level, and which means that we could see a move higher, but watch out for resistance here. It could become range bound for a bit before it takes off. So that's the only thing to bear in mind, but bias is bullish. Next target is 4.50, so neutral to bullish bias here for copper. Bitcoin here, Bitcoin's interesting. So we've been hearing news in regards to Tesla selling their selling 10%, or that's what they claim, that they sold 10% of their holdings. And now we are seeing that price is kind of stuck sideways here. Today we do have a bearish candle close. I'm looking for a retest of 55,280. And if it fails, we're basically looking for a move back down. This doesn't look good. So we see price is making lower highs, so we could see it drop further. So bias here is bearish for Bitcoin. And in terms of our targets, first target is 52,500, and then we have 50,500. So bearish bias for Bitcoin. S&P 500 is still stuck in a range here. This has been several days now where it has been trying to go through the resistance, hasn't made it through. Very, very small move here for S&P 500. So we have to be careful. Neutral bias here. If it fails, again, we could see a move back into the range. But if it goes through, next target is 42.20. So neutral bias here, but watch out for that break. NASDAQ here didn't really do a whole lot. Neutral candle close here. The earnings are coming in solid, but not much movement in terms of our markets here. So even with the Fed announcement, Fed holding the interest rate steady and not tapering the asset purchase program. All of that's supposed to be, or it is positive for the stock market. But as we can see here, it did have that negative impact on the US dollar, but hasn't really benefited the stock market very much. So we'll have to be careful here. Things could turn around. So watch out for that. So right now, though, price is trading between 14,000 and 13,700, still range bound. So we will look for a range bound move here for NASDAQ. So neutral bias here for NASDAQ. Dow Jones here, this one is slowly making its way down, but it is still range bound. So neutral to slightly bearish bias here, looking for a drop towards 33,700. And if it holds, then we're looking for a continuation move lower here. So bias is neutral to bearish, but again, there's just no momentum in the market at this point. It seems like everything is just waiting. Same thing here for DAX. We see prices holding here. It's just sideways, just like it was over here. So it still lacks momentum at this point. And what to expect here, I will look for a retest of 15,340. If it holds, we could see a drop. But again, we have to see, or we have to wait for price to go through 15,130. If it fails, we are back into the range like it's been doing over the last little bit here. So bias is neutral to slightly bearish. First target 15,130 and then 15,000. FTSE here, this one again neutral, hasn't really done a whole lot, still holding below this resistance at 69.65. And if it fails, we're looking for price back into the range here. So bias is neutral here for FTSE as well. And last one here, Nikkei also lacking clear direction here. It is holding below this resistance level. It has some bearishness in it. So looking for price to drop further towards 28,500 level here, but doesn't really have strong momentum in either direction at this point. So neutral to slightly bearish bias here for Nikkei. All right, so that's it for today. You guys have a wonderful trading day, and I'll be back again tomorrow. Bye for now.